When a train carrying flammable liquids is involved in an incident, first responders are often the first on scene. These types of incidents are not typical for first responders. They require a unique approach. Situations involving flammable liquids need to be handled with the appropriate knowledge and expertise. Flammable liquids fires are dangerous goods or hazmat fires. They are complex and pose unique risks. First responders must assess the hazards and mobilize the right resources to ensure public safety. They must exercise extreme caution. Taking action without a proper assessment could make a situation worse. Fortunately, there are plans and procedures in place to help keep everyone safe.
For first responders, the first step to safely handle these incidents is by doing a proper assessment from a safe distance. Until specialized resources and personnel arrive on the scene, non-intervention may be the best course of action.
Non-intervention is an important response strategy which allows for time to evaluate the potential risks and hazards at the scene, securing the perimeter, and ensuring public safety. In the case of flammable liquids, it's very important to carefully watch for the signs of incident growth as fire volume increases, and for sudden tank car failures called heat-induced tears. During this period, the liquid would continue to burn until another strategy is deemed appropriate.
Unlike typical structural fires, where response strategies are decided within minutes of the arrival on scene, the timeline when massive volumes of flammable liquids are involved is measured in hours. The situation is dynamic, and the plan must be re-evaluated periodically. Non-intervention is often the safest approach. Defensive and offensive strategies are high risk and require expertise, careful planning, and for the right resources to be used effectively.
For structural firefighting, municipal firefighters will, while still paying attention to their own safety, often go on the offensive to save lives or property. Often in our case, we must first apply a non-intervention strategy to be able to fully understand the situation. And with flammable liquids, there are several possible phenomena. And if we do the wrong thing at the wrong time, we can make things worse rather than better. There's a lot of heat, and as I said, phenomena can be very, very powerful, such as boil-over or froth-overs.
As a first responder, preparation is your greatest asset. You first need to be familiar with the types of dangerous goods that commonly pass through your community, as well as their chemical and physical properties.
Flammable liquids have varying properties that you need to be aware of. Gasoline, diesel, ethanol, crude oil, and bitumen are all flammable, but they behave differently under spill and fire conditions. The property known as viscosity gives an indication of how fast a liquid will spread at the scene of an incident. A substance's density indicates if a product will sink or float when mixed with water. This is important when dealing with incidents occurring near bodies of water. The flash point is an indication of how easily a flammable liquid can ignite. Flammable liquids have varying flash points. Some will ignite easily under a wide range of conditions. In the case of crude oil, it's a mixture of both flammable liquids and gases. Its flash point is variable, which makes it even more dangerous when spilled or on fire. In addition, flammable liquids fires will generate different types of smoke. For example, diesel will generate a thick black smoke, while ethanol may show little or no smoke.
You also have to consider toxicity, or how harmful the substance is to health. Flammable liquids will emit toxic gases, whether spilled or under fire conditions. In the case of crude oil, hydrogen sulfide and benzene are examples of gases causing major concerns. Always use personal protective equipment and self-contained breathing apparatus, or SCBA, until air monitoring can determine if the air is safe to breathe. Take the time to learn more about the properties of the different flammable liquids that go through your community. To be better prepared, you also need to know the 5 key steps to take during such incidents. The first step is to ensure personnel and vehicles are at a safe distance from the scene, uphill and upwind. Consult the Emergency Response Guidebook or call Canutech to determine the safe distances.
Canutech is the Canadian Transport Emergency Centre, a 24-hour service provided by Transport Canada. During an incident, Canutech can provide over-the-phone technical information on product properties, evacuation distances, personal protective equipment, and more. Canutech can also assist in finding information during any step of an incident.
always make sure you are wearing the right protective gear and stay away from any vapor, smoke, spills, and railway lines. Next, request to shut down the railway line. You can do this by calling the railway's emergency response telephone number and asking them to stop rail traffic on the line. Then, take steps to secure the perimeter.
The third step is to identify the dangerous goods involved and any hazards from a safe distance. Survey the area for fire, smoke, vapor, leaks, spills, and rail cars for ruptures and other damage. Scan the area for other physical dangers, such as electrical lines, twisted rails, or pipelines buried in the area. These dangers, if present, must be taken into consideration when developing a response strategy.
To determine if dangerous goods are present, you must be able to identify which rail cars may be carrying them. For flammable liquids, look for a bright red placard like this one. There should be a placard on both sides and ends of the rail car. Flammable liquids are a Class 3 dangerous good, which is marked on the bottom. The number in the middle is a United Nations or UN number, a unique number identifying the dangerous good. 1267 means that this car is carrying crude oil. Be aware of other placards for rail cars involved in this incident. The Ask Rail mobile app is another tool that can help you quickly identify if a rail car holds dangerous goods as well as the content of the entire train. By entering the rail car number, the large numbers and the letters on both sides and ends of the rail car, you'll access information on the car and its content. The app is available to emergency responders free of charge. Visit the Railway Association of Canada website to find out how to register. You should also obtain a copy of the shipping documents or train consist, also called the train journal or waybill. You can request this consist from the rail company or through Canutech. These documents outline what goods the train is carrying and their position on the train. They also include the shipper's contact information. Now that you know more about the situation, you may review the isolation perimeter and any necessary evacuation zones.
For high-risk dangerous goods, including some flammable liquids, look on the train consist for the Emergency Response Assistance Plan, or ERAP, telephone numbers for the rail cars involved in the incident.
By calling the ERAP telephone number, you'll be connected to a technical advisor from the company responsible for the product. This advisor will provide you with immediate technical and emergency response assistance.
Based on the discussion and the severity of the situation, the level of assistance may range from support over the phone to deployment of a specially trained response team and specialized equipment to the scene. Specialized equipment may include, but is not limited to, foam trailers and Class B foam, equipment for detecting gases, vapors, and other hazards, as well as pumps and hoses for transferring the product to a new container. Once the appropriate specialists are on site, you will need to work with them in a command structure and establish an action plan. With their expertise and assistance, the best strategies will be put in place, whether it's non-intervention, defensive, or offensive. This plan will most probably have to be reassessed and modified as conditions at the scene change. When entering the site, always wear the right protective gear and work in collaboration with properly trained personnel. Remember, keeping yourself and others safe is your #1 priority.
Events involving rail transportation and flammable liquids are very complex. There are several things to consider. It's not just the risk of flammable liquids, or just the risk of a rail incident, but both of these aspects together, and it's rare to see a single specialist with knowledge in both fields. That's why it's important to call the resources from Transport Canada and those from Canutech as soon as possible to access all the information and all the specialists required. Everyone brings their own knowledge, and when we put everyone together, it becomes even more important to speak the same language and be structured with a unified command system to better communicate, help us understand everyone's objective, and prioritize our actions to reach our goals as quickly as possible.
If you are the first responder, you may be the first one to arrive on site. But know that you're not alone, and the response isn't entirely on your shoulders. There are many resources and tools to assist you.
At the scene of a rail incident, you'll be working under an incident command structure involving railway personnel, specialized resources provided through the ERAP, and Transport Canada's remedial measures specialist. Depending on the nature of the incident, other organizations may also be present. There are plenty of tools and resources available to you, such as the Emergency Response Guidebook, the Ask Rail mobile app, the First Responders Aide-Mémoire, and Canutech. If you want to know more about the response to flammable liquids rail incidents, you can access the online e-learning tool from the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers and the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs, called Emergency Preparedness for Rail Incidents Involving Flammable Liquids in Canada. The mobile app Hazmat Flick from the National Fire Protection Association is another available resource. The app provides a detailed commander checklist as well as reference documents for high-hazard flammable trains incidents and pipeline emergencies. Beyond these resources, you can also prepare by studying past incidents, organizing simulations, and making sure your local emergency preparedness plan is adequate and up to date.
Where flammable liquids are involved, the first responders play a critical role in understanding the particular hazards associated with large flammable liquid fires. With the right preparation and training, the right specialized resources on site, the right plans and procedures in place, Canadians can rest assured that situations can be handled safely and will be resolved respecting the following elements: timely, appropriate, safe, and coordinated.
For more information about the transportation of dangerous goods, about ERAP, or to download the Safety Awareness Kit for First Responders, visit Transport Canada's website at tc.gc.ca/tdg.